Hello YouTube. Robert Alvarez, the Psychic Witch, also known as Mr. Lighting and a Fan. Right now the time is approximately 12:26 p.m. and the current date is Wednesday, November 22nd, 2017. I want to acknowledge my newest YouTube channel subscribers, and they are Bleeding Wolf 13, written as one word, or one word. Jujubee Hex. Oh, and I see Corey in the background. How cute! Jujubee Hex. I love that username. Sounds so cool. Hex with two X's, by the way. And Kim Y. The letter Y is in yellow. I want to shout out to Gothica, and I want to actually talk a little bit about. Well, first of all, I promised Jennifer Ball of Jennifer Ball Spiritual Garage that I would talk about my cosmically charged coffee concoction. So this is my on-screen mug. Some of you may remember this, my artisanal mug. So what I did was I took some Café Bustelo Instantáneo, the instant one, and I filled it to about halfway here, like to the halfway point from the bottom to the middle. So, and then I made it like a demi-tasse, you know, like a half thing. So then I stirred it up, and then I added, now check this out, combination of whole milk, evaporated milk, light cream, and Coffee Mate brand coconut cream flavored non-dairy creamer. Put the rest of that here. I don't know if you can see how good this looks. Look at how good that looks. And it smells good too, but I haven't tasted it yet, so that's coming soon. And then I added a little bit of Domino brand dark brown sugar. Don't you wish I had a cafe? Oh, now let's see. So, oh, that's so good. Man, I make some good stuff. Oh, that's so good. And of course, now the sun is in Sagittarius, which is why I'm wearing a different pendant. My bracelets and rings pretty much stay the same, but my pendants change depending upon the transiting sun sign. And it just so happens that yesterday, November 21st, 2017, don't remember the time offhand, but I believe it was sometime between 11 a.m. and 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, the sun entered Sagittarius. So now I wear this pendant, which is this beautiful royal plum colored star ruby. I've always found it fascinating that I tend to find the star rubies that are a darker shade of red, almost purple. And I tend to find a lot of fluorites that have more teal in them than any other color. I'm enjoying it either way. I really do. So, with that being said, I wanted to talk this video. The topic of this video is going to be about various sacred tools and magical methods that you can use for spiritual protection and psychic self-defense. And I want to, you know, it's so funny because earlier today I was talking to somebody who I've known since I was 21 or 22, and I'm now 47. And I've known her for several years. She's been a good friend. She has availed herself of my psychic services from time to time. And we caught up a lot this morning. We were talking about what's been happening in her life, what's been happening in my life. We actually had an actual telephone conversation. Pardon me. So it was really great catching up with her and talking about a few things. And I knew that today was the day that I wanted to make this video. I really wanted to make this video last Saturday, which was the date of the new moon in Scorpio. But there were some technical difficulties on my end, and I just, you know, didn't have the chance to do that. So I have an itch on my shirt, on my stomach, and I'm like trying to do it discreetly, and it's not happening. So I apologize if I'm giving you the impression that I'm doing something else, but I'm really scratching my stomach because I think I used the wrong kind of detergent the last time I washed this shirt. So Okay. That's that's better. I'm trying to discreetly scratch my stomach and it's just not happening. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to tell them what I'm doing. So, but in the meantime, mm, mm. Oh, that's so good. Okay. So, I'm going to talk about I'm not going to talk about every metaphysical method and sacred tool that I know about. That'd be a much longer video. And my intention is to keep this video under 20 minutes. Under 15 if I can help it. So, first of all, let me talk about, I'm going to actually do this a bit differently than I had originally planned on doing this. So in Western astrology, the first sign of the zodiac is Aries, which is a fire sign. So I'm going to talk first about candle colors that one can use for spiritual protection and psychic self-defense. And there are a few of them, but the three main ones are white, red, and black. Which is interesting because those of us that are very goddess-oriented and tend to look to a goddess before a god or any other celestial being, we know that white corresponds to the maiden aspect of the goddess, red to the mother aspect, and black to the crone goddess, to the crone aspect. So white is a very good color for general spiritual protection. It's a really great color candle to use when you want general protection, when you want to generally protect something, whether it's oneself, one's loved ones, one's children, one's co-worker, one's supervisor, etc. Or just general spiritual protection in general. Then, of course, red. Red makes perfect sense because red is more about physical protection, which also makes sense since red is a root chakra, is the traditional root chakra color, or base chakra, as some sources call it. And root chakra issues are money, security, and safety. So burning a red candle is ideal when you want to feel more safe and secure in your world. Red candles are great if you want to increase your general feeling and general energy field of protection. And of course, black candles, which are so very they're given such a bad rap, but black candles are invaluable when it comes to psychically and physically protecting yourself from something or someone that really wants to cause you harm. And then, of course, there's also very specific candle colors that you want to use for protection. So let's say, just off the top of my head, let's say that you want to protect your finances. You can use a red candle and a black candle together as a way of protecting your finances. Or if you want to use the traditional candle color associated with money, which is green, you can do that as well. I tend to find that working with candle colors from using the chakras as a guide, I find is more empowering and makes my ritual work and spellcraft more successful. So if I wanted to increase my love quotient, if I wanted to heal deep emotional wounds from previous relationships, romantic and otherwise, I would use a green candle because green is a traditional color associated with the heart chakra. But metallic gold and golden yellow are colors that I tend to associate with money and riches. So you can use a red candle, a black candle, and a golden yellow or a metallic yellow candle if you want to specifically direct energies to protecting your finances. Okay. So next after Aries is Taurus, and Taurus is the first of the earth signs. So now I'm going to talk about the different crystals that one can use to increase one's spiritual protection and psychic self-defense. So one of my personal favorite psychic self-defense crystals is Hematite. And if you can find an especially shiny hematite that is polished and tumbled to a mirror-like sheen, that's a great one. And if you can even find one that's let's say this size, that's even better, because it will act like the perfect deflecting field or deflecting shield, to use a Star Trek term, for deflecting any psychic attack that is sent to you. Keep in mind that the traditional school of thought regarding the left and right sides of the body is that the right side of the body, which I know that from your end it looks left, but this is the right side of my body, is the physical side, the paternal side, the giving side, the divine masculine side, the God side, as in the male deity side. And then you have the left side of the body, which is the emotional side, the goddess side, the maternal side, the receiving side. So normally when people send psychic attacks to somebody, they're doing it, sending it out, using the right side of the body. And they're sending it to somebody who's receiving it on the left side. So anything that you can wear, and I will tell you that for years I had a hematite bracelet. It was a beaded hematite bracelet, and I would always wear it on my left wrist. And I need to get a new one, and I'll show you why. Because the one that I have, if I were to keep wearing it, it would just fall apart. I don't know how well you can see it, but if you look here in this vicinity, I'm going to put it over my left eye, or rather above my left eye. You can see how frayed the cord is. So this is something that I would need to have restrung, and I don't know how to do that, which is why it's here. I don't feel led to wear it like a ring like this, but it works best as a bracelet, and I would not take this off. I would keep this on me. And I think when I stopped wearing it, the person who hexed me picked up on that and was like, okay, now I'm gonna hex this bitch. So I need to get a new one. Stat. I really do. Anyway. So, hematite is a wonderful crystal for deflecting psychic attack, and it is one that I highly, highly, highly recommend. Generally speaking, if you were to use, if you were to create a crystal grid for psychic self-defense and spiritual protection, I would absolutely recommend clear quartz, which traditionally amplifies the properties of other crystals, hematite, and any black crystal that drew you energetically, or that you were divinely guided to use. Black onyx is a wonderful crystal for promoting emotional detachment. And it's a really great crystal if you feel too emotionally attached to a person or a situation, which could very well leave you open to psychic attack. And I know that in spite of having Moon in Aquarius, sometimes I can be a little bit too emotionally attached to people or situations, or things for that matter. So I know that for me, working with black onyx on a regular basis is ideal. And it is a Capricorn crystal, and I have 3 planets in Capricorn, including my sun sign. So it really works well for me. Black tourmaline is traditionally the penultimate protection crystal. And I find it interesting that when it comes to black onyx, black obsidian, and black tourmaline, the most expensive one is black tourmaline, at least across every place that I've seen it, whether it's online or off, in stores or catalogs, on websites. I find that black tourmaline is the more expensive of the 3, but its potency for spiritual protection and psychic self-defense is unparalleled. So if it works for your budget to get a piece of black tourmaline, get it. Even if it's something as little as this, like, this'll work. This'll do it. Black obsidian is very interesting because, remember, all forms of obsidian are forms of volcanic glass. So a lot of heat, a lot of fire, under a lot of pressure, like physical pressure, was utilized to create that crystal. So working with black obsidian, black obsidian is one of those things that really is going to let you know what's going on around you energetically. And I will say that over the years, and this is my personal thing, I don't know if this has happened to you. If this has, by all means, feel free to share it in the comments. But for years, every time that I've worn something made of metal, like a pendant, a bracelet, what have you, and it falls from my body, that to me is a clear and evident sign that somebody was going to psychically attack me, and something that I was wearing on my body prevented that from happening. And I remember one day I was hanging out with one of my best friends, Jackie, and we were in this store in my area, and we happened to see some black candles. And I remember I had a pendant, and it was a pyramid-shaped pendant, and I don't remember offhand what crystal it was. I seem to recall it was either fluorite or it was a black crystal. It could have been black onyx or black obsidian. But I remember we were in the store, we were browsing through one of the aisles, and we saw black candles. And the first thing she said was, black candles are great for protection. And the pendant that I had, and it was around here, just fell from the chain. It like fell from the chain that I was wearing that day to the floor. And I was like, that's not a coincidence. That is not a coincidence. So, yeah. I definitely recommend black crystals, hematite, and of course any crystal that has an association with your sun sign can be used as a personal talisman for protection for you. Going forward in the zodiacal wheel, we have the next sign of the zodiac, which is Gemini, which is the strongest of the air signs. So absolutely, I highly recommend uncrossing incense. Now, let me tell you a little bit about uncrossing incense. So sometimes people experience feeling stuck in their lives. They feel stuck, or they feel blocked, or they feel crossed, like bound. Uncrossing incense basically reverses that situation. It uncrosses you. It unbinds you. It sets you free. So if there is a situation where you feel like you're stuck, or you feel like you are bound, or you feel like you can't move forward, uncrossing incense is ideal. It's one of my personal favorite incense blends. And clearly I used the wrong detergent with this shirt. Oh my goddess. I again, YouTube, I utterly apologize. Oh, I don't know what it is. For some reason, I always forget which is the detergent that I use that causes an allergic reaction. I almost never wear this shirt, and I think this is the reason why. Because for some reason, it tends to absorb that detergent a little too much. Anyway, let's see if I can make it through the rest of this video without having an itch anywhere, especially my stomach. Anyway, in the event that you cannot find uncrossing incense in your area, dragon's blood incense. Now, for my own peace of mind, maybe for yours too, dragon's blood is not the blood of a dragon. The reason why it is called dragon's blood is it is because it is a resin. It is a rich red colored resin. And because it is a resin, it has this sebaceous quality, this thick, kind of like greasy quality in its natural state. I hope I'm saying this correctly. But it is a phenomenal incense to use for uncrossing yourself, for uncrossing a situation. But I must caution you, do not overuse uncrossing incense or dragon's blood incense to uncross a situation. Because if you do that, you're going to basically undo any good that's already in your life. I did not learn this the hard way. I know people that have learned this the hard way. They're the ones that taught me that they learned it the hard way. So I do recommend making sure that when it comes to using uncrossing incense, use it and then don't use it. It is not the kind of incense to burn every day. Because if you want to go back to square -5, then you can use uncrossing or dragon's blood incense. Any general protection incense will also work very well. Protect my home. And of course, I'm a fan of certain other sacred tools, which I'm going to talk about right now. So after Gemini, we have Cancer. Cancer is the strongest of the water signs. So when it comes to water, I cannot over-recommend Florida water for general spiritual cleansing, for energetically cleansing oneself. I faithfully use Florida water after conducting a reading. I find that it energetically and spiritually cleanses myself from that reading. No matter if it was a good reading or a not so good reading, the energy that is associated with that reading is not required to remain stuck on me or around me. So, and especially when I give readings at public venues like a Black Mirror Salon at Catland or a psychic fair someplace else, I want to spiritually cleanse myself with the Florida water, because that way I'm fresh and I'm energetically cleansed for the next reading. and I won't be focusing on what I received and what I saw from the previously concluded reading. If you have a bathtub in your home, because not everybody does, I highly recommend sea salt baths. Sea salt baths they're just amazing, and they are wonderful for general spiritual cleansing and for energetically protecting oneself. Another thing that I like to add in my spiritual baths and my spiritual cleansing baths, I don't remember what it's called in English, but in Spanish it's called cascarilla. Cascarilla. Now, cascarilla has the same root word as cascara, which is like shell, as in like an eggshell, like the actual eggshell. But I don't remember what cascarilla is called in English. I might look it up, and then if I can find the translation, then I'll put it in the video description. But I will say that it is wonderful for spiritually cleansing oneself, and especially for eliminating any negative energy that's stuck on you. A little bit will do you. It's usually sold as a solid powder. You just what I usually find in my area. I'll use this flashlight as an example. So in my area, one of my favorite stores will sell it like in containers like this size, from the top of the purple part to the bottom of the purple part. And it's filled with the cascarilla. So since the container is usually like a thin plastic, I'll just like press the sides together, or like this, and then break off a little bit and put that in the bath. And that works really well for me. It's wonderful. A little bit will do you. A little bit will go a very long way. So I highly recommend that. And of course, there are so many different deities and celestial beings that one can call upon for protection. Although my personal recommendation is I would recommend reading about them, doing some research about them before you begin working with them. I have enormous reverence for Kali Ma, and I have enormous reverence for Durga the goddess, and I have enormous reverence, and I looked to my left because Durga the kitten is to my left, and she's having a nice little nap on my copy of Los Carabeos 30 Years of Tarot wall calendar. But yeah, before you work with any celestial being for protection, I would recommend reading a little bit about them. Read a little bit about them, find out what they do, what they're all about, because you don't want to like invoke a deity and then it's like, oh, you're bound to them for the rest of your life. I mean, I'm being a little extreme, but you get the gist of it. So that's all for this video. I don't make this a really long video. It's already a little above 20 minutes, and but I did want to be thorough in this video. If you have any questions, please submit them in the comments. If you do not feel comfortable asking your question publicly, then feel free to email me. My email address is thetarotman@excite.com. That's TheTarotman @EXCITE.com. And I know that this is a bit of a taboo subject because, and I was thinking about this the last few days, like even in the magical communities in my area, we don't usually talk about this. We just don't. And clearly it does need to be discussed. I mean, if there is somebody that is causing other people harm, then one could argue that we have a responsibility to let other people know about that. There is somebody that used to be an initiated companion of the Magical Grove, of which I'm an initiated companion, and she's not a nice person, and she needed to be removed. And every once in a while, we keep tabs on her. We find out things that she's doing that we find out from social media platforms and whatnot. And it's like, okay, I just need to let people know because she's not a nice person. And it's a shame, but that's how it is sometimes. And in the meantime, I hope all of you who are celebrating Thanksgiving are going to have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope that all of you who are going shopping Thanksgiving weekend, you couldn't pay me to do it. You just couldn't pay me to do it. I mean, I could be desperate for money. I could have the rent due, and I'd be like, maybe it's because I'm 47, soon to be 48, but I gotta tell you, You know, I admire the people who do it. I'd be more inclined to like wait outside overnight for concert tickets than I would to, for a store to open so I can get something that's normally priced at $100 for like $7. But yeah, but I'll admit it. I know that in a few days I'm going to be watching YouTube and I'm going to be watching these videos of all these idiotas who are like, trying to like whatever and beat the crap out of each other, and I'm gonna pop some popcorn and feel like I'm watching a movie. But you know I also want to thank all of you again who have written beautiful comments, caring comments, compassionate comments. It has been made clear to me that the person who has been emotionally manipulated to hex me is redoubling their efforts. Their efforts have been completely wasted. They've been completely wasted in that everything they're trying to redo is becoming undone and is unraveling. So my reversing the hex is absolutely working. And my sending back to them what they've been sending to me is absolutely working in, essentially letting them know that they hexed the wrong person. And they absolutely hexed the wrong witch. I honestly never knew that I had such a skill in hexing wrongdoers and in hexing people that cause other people harm. I never knew that I had that skill until a few years ago. I really didn't. But then I look at the few times that I have hexed somebody that was causing harm to a large number of people, and I'm like, damn. So, you don't want to hex this bitch. Why would you do that? I mean, and I know, I've said this before, and I will say it again. I have purposely gone out of my way to avoid hurting somebody, even if it caused me harm. And, I know that nobody's ever going to thank me for that. I know that. I've made my peace with that. But, if I was a different kind of person, I could cause major havoc and massive amounts of harm, But I don't want to do that. I really have no desire to do that. I want the people that cause me and mine harm to leave me the fuck alone. That's what I want. I want them to leave me the fuck alone, leave the people that are part of my tribe the fuck alone, and to go away, and to stay away. They want to do their nonsense someplace else. They want to be bruta, putas, idiotas de mierda someplace else. Fine. Leave me and mine alone. Live alone, we don't need to see who you are. We don't need to know who you are. We don't need to know you don't like us. Fine. Then go away and stay away. I don't need to know that. But if you come at me and you come at mine, then we're going to have a problem. And you're going to wish I had a gun. And you're going to be like, oh, he doesn't have a gun, but he has magic. Shit! I'm being a little silly right now, and that's not my intention. Well, actually, slightly, because I know that this is a very serious topic. I know it sounds like a bell is being rung, but it's actually Isis, the alpha female, having some water. But you know what? The fact of the matter is that it's pointless, because anything that is meant to be one, if there is something that's yours and it's meant to be yours by divine right, then it doesn't matter what anybody does or doesn't do. It's yours by divine right. That's all there is to it. That's why some people get so caught up in this BS about, well, I want that man. That man ain't gonna be with that bitch. I want that man. I'm gonna do and get that man. But what if that man is not meant to be yours by divine right? And what if you getting that man is actually going to create problems for you? And then you're bound to this man because you made some magical mistakes, because you thought you were super witch and you were super idiota, and now you can't get rid of this man. Some people do that. I find it especially irritating when people play with magic. Magic is not to be played with. Magic is a very serious thing. I am naturally a very serious person. 90% of the time, I'm going to be serious. I'm going to discuss serious topics. I'm going to read about serious topics. I'm going to write about serious topics. And I have no problem. I don't need to be a clown. I don't need to be a comedian. You know, there are plenty of comedians out there that are doing a great job of it. Trevor Noah is one of them. And, you know, Samora is another one of them. They're good at what they do. They're good at making people laugh. They're good at being very entertaining. That's fine. I'm not here to entertain you. I am here to discuss topics that are very serious, that are magical, that are tarot related, that are divination related, that are metaphysically oriented, and that's fine. But yeah, some people are like, they want to play with magic, and I'm like, don't play with magic. Please don't do that, because you know what? If you play with magic, then you're going to create a problem that really does not need to be your problem or anybody else's problem. Okay, and with that, thank you, YouTube, for honoring who I am and what I do. I wish all of you a divine abundance of love and light, prosperity, protection, and peace. And for those of you who may be watching who are creating nonsensical problems, please stop doing it. Just stop doing it now. Stop doing it now, because everybody will be a lot better off, including you. And if you're harming people that have not caused you harm, you're creating more problems for yourself than you realize. And you may not want to admit it even to yourself, but the problems are going to be a lot massive and a lot bigger if you do not stop your nonsense. So please, for the sake of everybody's health and well-being, including your own, stop the nonsense. Thank you.